Been thinking about this movie since I left the theater on the way home and kind of get in here. Had a long drive, the windows down, going over how I feel about this movie. I feel like the theme of this movie overall is one of um, the world is a brutal place and don't fuck around with it, really. That is kind of the message in this movie. And it made me think about um, and there's been a couple of these stories. You have these happy-go-lucky hippies. They want to get out in the world and show that, oh, everything's just wonderful, all the people are good, they're just misunderstood. There's no bad people, there's just misunderstood people. And you have these people that were bicycling across Africa, and that was their whole mission. The world is beautiful. It's just all just wonderful. And you know what happened? They got fucking murdered. Somebody just saw him and said, "Who are these fucking people? Fuck you." They murdered him. And that's the message of this movie is don't fuck around with the world. It's not uplifting, it's not fun. And when I say this comparison, you'll think like, well, that sounds fun. I mean, there's an aspect. This movie really is kind of, and I'll put these two movies together to give you a general idea, but I won't give everything away. It's basically Taken meets Home Alone, but with a lot of murder. Um, and I'm gonna have a sip of my flask because take one of these to the theater with you. It's worth it. Um, yeah, Taken meets Home Alone. Um, but it's definitely a very dark, brutal movie. Um, I would I was gonna say five. I would give it 5 buckets of popcorn, but I'm kind of gonna go back to four because I feel like, and it's reminiscent of a lot of older action movies where it's like there's a setup and then it's like one thing happens. It's like, bam, that's the movie. And this movie is like that. You have a long kind of setup and then it happens. I feel like there could have been a lot more there could have been a lot more developed in the middle there. There was a character introduced that we could have seen a little bit more of. We could have heard more from. There was, I mean, the action scenes are, it's like wham, right, all at once. Last bit of the movie, well, last third of the movie, and up to that, it's just a sort of, yeah, you see where it's going. You see where it's going. Oh shit, this is fucked up. Damn. And it does make you go like, yeah, I want to see that. I want to see what's gonna happen. It does make you feel that, but it is fucking heavy and it's pretty dark. Um, I I definitely really liked it. I was really gripped by it. But you got to know it's not a fun action movie. It's a dark kind of journey, a dark brief journey. I feel like it should have been developed a little bit more. There were just give me a little bit in here, give me more action here, and give me a little bit more here, and man, lighten the tone a little bit, maybe. I don't know. It's just so fucking depressing. And there's another thing I want to point out, and that is this movie. If you look at the sort of movie press, whatever you want to call these fucking people, journalist is too good of a word. reviewers. There are a lot of people shitting on this movie. Even Salon.com called it what do they call it? A MAGA fever dream. They're calling it this sort of fucking racist thing. It's like, man, if you watch this movie and you're thinking about racism, you are fucking sick. You're sick in the head. That is not what this movie is about. It's about there's darkness in the world and you got to look out for it. Just because that darkness exists in Mexico, it doesn't mean this movie is fucking racist. There is bad shit in Mexico. If you're gonna pretend that's not there, MS-13, go look up what fucking MS-13 has done. And the people they hurt the most are Mexicans. It's not fucking racist to say that. I would, and there's this. I was looking at that review, Salon. It only portrays darkness in Mexico, and this girl is so afraid. Like it showed it's dangerous to go to Mexico by herself. I would be fucking terrified to go just drive into fucking Mexico, not knowing where I was going. I would not do that. That is a stupid thing to do. To not know where you're going and to just drive into Mexico. Do you know what happens in those border towns? Like, it would be stupid. And to act like this is some kind of fucking right-wing anthem, and it's just like, yeah, it's just like, get those fucking Mexicans. We don't need it. Like, we don't need them in United States. Like, it's not about that at all. It's not about that. It's not about the wall. It's not about Trump. It's not about any of that shit. It's about somebody that gets in a fucked up situation and bad things happen with a gang, and then what are you gonna do about it? And none of it's good. It doesn't reflect. It's not like it's glorifying the United States. It's not shitting on Mexico. It is just a bad thing happens, and you see a man that has lived a harsh life see that it doesn't get better. that's it. I mean, it's really harsh. And that's the world. That's what it's telling you is don't take family for granted. Don't take the nice, comfortable life you have for granted. Pay attention to what's going on in the world and don't be naive. That's really the message of this movie. And like I say, it puts it across really well. It is brutally violent, much like the last Rambo movie, the fourth movie. This movie does, and it's so quick. When that brutality starts happening, it just hits it one after the other, and it's almost too fast. It really is. I do wish this movie had about an extra 10-15 minutes to kind of flesh out. Like I said, there's a character that we should have seen more of. I feel like there should have just been a little bit of time to breathe. But I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. Like I say, I would give it a 4 out of 5, just because it was a kind of action movie you don't see a lot anymore. A rated R, a very hard, violent kind of movie that does not pull any punches. So, big ups to, I mean, fucking Sylvester Stallone, 70 something years old, doing these movies. And, it's fucking awesome. And I was actually in the theater. There was only three other dudes in that theater. And as soon as it was over, they were all talking. Of course, I was near the front because that's where I like to sit. And they're coming down the stairs, and they're just like, they're talking, and I said, that was like the most murderous Home Alone ever. And they're like, yeah. And it was like, man, the dude's still doing it, man. It was brutal. Oh yeah, it just makes me want to get out there and do something. They were hyped by the action and the fact that Sylvester Stallone could still make an action movie at his age. And yeah, you're gonna feel that too. So if you like old school 80s 90s action, you're gonna like this movie. If you like Stallone, you're gonna like this movie. But like once again, it's not fun. It's rough, but it's really good. So that's that's how I feel. Rambo: Last Blood. It was great. And get you a flask of whiskey and go watch it. Go watch it.